Hey guys, today we're going to be ranking every single Call of Duty zombie perk from S rank to F rank. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into this. So over here we've got, I think it was called Bandolier Bandit or something like that. I don't remember this perk being too bad, so I'm probably going to give it a respectable C. Blaze phase. Easily, I'm gonna say it already right at the start of this video, one of the worst perks, if not the worst perk ever in Call of Duty history. It was just awful. All you could do with it, you had to go prone and you had to hold, you had to go prone just to run through a train of zombies at a really fast speed, and sometimes it could actually get you killed if you weren't careful. It was an absolute nightmare. Up next, we have Luna. Good old Luna. Now, the Luna perk to me is not that good. I'd probably put it in D. I won't put it in F because it actually can be quite helpful sometimes killing the zombies and you do get actual power ups. But the problem is if Luna activated, let's say if it was towards the end of a round, you wanted to, let's say, get some ammo or get perks or whatever without too many zombies being around, then you'd have a little bit of a problem, because if it killed the last zombie, it'd go into the next round. That could ruin your whole run. I won't say it's F tier because it does have some uses, but you know, it is what it is. Deadshot Daiquiri. This is the BO1, BO2 version. Easily F tier. Easily. And I'm going to explain this to you right now. All it essentially did is made sure that you could aim down sights to the head, but it's not that hard to do. Get a headshot on a zombie, if I'm being completely honest with you. And it was just basically aimbot for the head, and it didn't increase the damage, it didn't do anything else. It just made sure you could point to the zombie's head, and that was about it, really. However, Deadshot Daiquiri on Black Ops Cold War, I'm actually going to say is an A tier. The damage increase that you get for headshots is incredible. You get increased accuracy. It is actually a really, really useful perk on Cold War to get to the high rounds. If you haven't got Deadshot Daiquiri, it is incredibly difficult to do because the damage multipliers you can get with Deadshot Daiquiri are wild. Now, moving on to depth perception. So this came back. I'm not sure if this is the Cold War version. I think I could be wrong about that though, but I'm going to assume it is. It looks more modern than the next one. But or is this the world? It doesn't really matter anyway. So we're going to call this the world. We're going to call this the BO2 version. Let's call this the BO2 version to make it easier. Actually, no. This is the Cold War one. This is the Cold War. I can tell. So the Cold War version of depth perception. It doesn't really do much to the. It doesn't do it much. You can see zombies through walls. The radar on the map went faster, but these are features we didn't need in zombies anyway. It made it almost mind-numbingly easy, to be quite honest with you. Um, it's D tier only because it does have some uses, I suppose, to an extent. If you're a new player and you're not very good at zombies, other than that, it goes in D tier. Depth perception. So we have the Cold War version, we have the BO4 version. The BO4 version was F tier. It was less useful. There was less going on with it. All we did is show zombies through walls. Wasn't effective at all. Double tap 1.0. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to probably put in F tier as well. It's not a good perk. It literally just wasted your ammo. You killed zombies more quickly, but you ran out of more ammo quickly, which resulted in you in dying more quickly. When you had hordes of zombies, it didn't make very much of a difference. It was a waste of time. But double tap 2.0, I would probably put that in A tier. You did double damage. It made, and when this was introduced back in BO2 and especially in BO3, this perk was a must if you were surviving. Okay. I think we all know where this one is going. Good old Dying Wish. I think it's called Dying Wish. Straight in S tier. This was literally a crutch perk. If you got hit by zombies, and you were on like 1 health and this perk was available, you were invincible for a certain period of time. You could get out of any situation. Like that's essential. Electric Cherry. I'm going to double check it doesn't go over the other versions. Electric Cherry, to me, if we were talking about the BO2 version of the perk of the BO3, and even the Cold War, no, it's actually a pretty bad perk. When I think about it, Electric Cherry isn't that great. I mean, it can be useful to an extent, but the electric damage is not very good. And it wasn't too different in BO3. To be fair, I don't remember it having much of an effect when it came to high rounds or even survivability, because like perks like Widow's Y and Juggernog were way more useful than Electric Cherry. I'd probably put this one in D tier only because it, other than the electric shock you got by a certain round, it just stunned the zombies a bit and you could still be stuck. It was just wasn't great. Oh god. This one. This perk is interesting. Elemental Pop. It's not terrible. C tier. I mean, it activate. It's good for when you've got a weapon packables, I suppose, and you want to experiment different ammo types. And it does help when once you've pack punched your weapon, you do get extra activations of it. I believe what it feels like you do. So it does give the weapon that extra bit of boost to an extent. It's a bit annoying though because it is a bit random and it can be seen as worthless to an extent, especially if you've already got your gun pack a punch to the ammo mod that you want. But it's quite good, I guess, to an extent. Right, this perk. I can't remember what this perk was called, but I remember you doing extra melee damage with it. Yeah, some of these perks I forgot, and if you combined it with the Sawflay, Gobble, Gun, or Elixir, or whatever it was, your melee weapon was extremely powerful. You could do some serious damage with this. I'm probably going to put it in B tier though, only because using melee weapons on high rounds in zombies in general is not a safe idea, and it's much more efficient to use guns. But it is good to get out of tricky situations, especially if you've got an increase of melee damage. Let's say if you get trapped in a corner, you can quickly knife the zombies out of the way. That's something I've used it for before. I can't remember what the perk was called, man. Right, Juggernog, and this is the Cold War version. Now, the Cold War version, I'm going to straight up say it is S tier. It's a fantastic perk. You get double health. Well, I don't think it's double health, but you get an increase in health massively. There's also the crutch version of it where if you get hit a certain number of times, you get stuck on one health rather than dying instantly. Stuff like that. But overall, everyone knows that Juggernog, no matter what game it is very useful. Right, the Juggernog in what BO1 to BO3, S tier. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's the perk that everyone uses to survive, basically, because on BO1 and BO2 and even World at War, it was one hit, two hits, and you were dead. However, in Juggernog, it doubled your health, and that's kind of what it really. But without it, surviving on zombies would not be pretty. Mule kicks up next. So I think this is the revived Cold War version. It doesn't have much else to it. I mean, remember on the Cold War version, it did give you actually like bits of ammo and stuff rather than just the three guns. But having three weapons zombies is useful, but the perk price is so expensive for what it is at the same time. I'm probably going to put it in C tier, only because I feel like with zombies anyway, a third gun, while it does make a difference, doesn't have the biggest impact. So if you've got the two best guns in the map, for example, let's say in Cold War I had the ray gun, Mauer de Toten, and the Surplus for argument's sake, you're probably not going to use anything else really. It's not worth your time. And the extra ammo, I suppose, does help, but there's ammo boxes all over the Cold War maps, so I don't really see the use for it, and they're not that expensive. However, Mule Kick on on the rest of the games, I'm not too impressed with. I'm gonna say, I'm probably gonna say D tier, because having a third gun again is useful to an extent if you want to have ammo, I suppose, in the older games. But sometimes when you're down and stuff, you'd lose the weapon you didn't want to use. It wasn't very clear which gun would get taken away if you went down. So that's what made it very frustrating to use. But the reason it's not F tier is because it's not all bad, but that absolutely not. PhD Flopper. Now, PhD Flopper is one of them perks I'm speaking about all the time. Everyone wanted it back in BO2 because of die rise mainly. And it's good for not taking explosive damage. You've got a rocket launcher or ray gun. It's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I will say it's overrated. I say it's overrated to an extent. I will say it's S tier because if you've not got an explosive weapon, it's actually not that useful. I mean, and when you do the fall damage and the flopping, I think that's more of a gimmicky thing. It does kill zombies to an extent, but it's not that useful. So I'm going to put that in there. And PhD slider, probably the same thing, really. They updated in Black Ops 4 to make it the same as PhD flopper, more or less. No explosive damage, so yeah, it deserves to be an A tier. Quick revive, the Cold War version specifically. Now this is an interesting one because it doesn't do what it used to do. It doesn't revive you. It just sort of I can't remember what it does. It just gives you extra health benefits, I suppose. I'd probably put it in B tier though because it is pretty useful. But it's probably not the best perk in Cold War in the world, I'd say. There's way more better perks out there, to say the least. And this next perk, Quick Revive, the original. Now, this is a tricky one because the original Quick Revive was basically without it on solo, you were screwed. But the co-op version of this perk wasn't that great. It revived you a little bit more quickly. But I'd say overall, if you're a solo player, it would be S tier, but co-op, it would probably be more like a B tier perk, maybe even a C tier perk. To balance that out, I'm going to probably put it at A tier, not an S tier, only because of co-op, it was limited in its use. Speed Cola in Cold War, I'm going to put as B tier. It didn't increase the reload speed as fast as I thought it would. If you compare this to the BO3 version of Speed Cola, Christ Almighty, that was on steroids. Because I had 100%. I'm going to assume, but this is the BO3 version or before that. It was very good. The reload speed of your weapons was insane. But it's not S tier because in BO1 and BO2 it wasn't great. BO3 it was fantastic, so I'm probably going to put Speed Cola at A tier because I've got to remember, while these perks were good on some games, I've got to balance it out that they were better in different ones. I've got to bear that in mind. Stamina up on Cold War, and this may be a controversial one. Very controversial placement, but I'm actually going to put this at S tier. You went so fast on Cold War when you have the stamina up full upgraded. It was insane. And personally, for me, I think when it comes to maneuverability on zombies, it is essential to have as much speed as possible. Not too much, and it got the balance right really well. This on Outbreak was fantastic, and training for this using this to train zombies is excellent. You get out of some really tricky situations. Stamina up on the other games, it did have its uses, but you could probably manage without it to an extent. But I'd give it a respectable, still give it a respectable B tier. I mean, it was good enough, right? Ooh, Stronghold. Ooh, I'm gonna do two. It's an interesting one. This, it was pretty good. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. Give it a C tier. Time Slip. Now, Time Slip was pretty good for power ups and things like that. It was probably one of the most underrated perks because if you used it correctly, it was really good. Actually, I actually found it really good. But I'd probably put this in B tier. Tombstone. So Tombstone in Cold War was so much better than the BO2 version. The BO2 version was annoyingly annoying to use, to say the least. But for Tombstone, I would probably put it for the Cold War version C tier. Now it was a lot better, but there was a lot of bugs with it, and there was and the quick revive perk was way more efficient to use for the reviver because you could revive yourself in certain circumstances compared to the Tombstone. It was way better. Tomb Soda on BO2 though, I'm going to put it in D tier. It's not an F tier perk because if you do use it properly, it can be very helpful. But it was only available on co-op. I think if it was available on solo as well, I'd probably actually put it in C or B tier. But unfortunately, it doesn't. Right, this perk was beautiful if you had the shield, and everybody knew it. Victorious taught us. I'm probably going to put it in well, you were invincible when you were with the shield, so it's very tricky. But I'm actually gonna say B tier because you were limited technically to using the shield for this perk to be effective. It did increase your shield durability though. Oh, I'm not too sure now. Actually, I might increase it to A because without it, you were very vulnerable with the even with the shield on. So actually, it does help. Right, Vulture Aid. Now, Vulture Aid is more like it did a bit of everything. You were invincible from the zombies. It was great for camping on Buried. It's a shame it was only available on Buried. This perk was awesome. I'm probably going to put this in A tier. Actually, it was really useful. I mean, you got little points, little bits of ammo. You could be invincible when you kill zombies. It made camping with the paralyzer a blast, really. Who's Who, big disappointment in F. The perk itself actually has a really good concept where you can come back in the afterlife and revive yourself, but the big problem was is you got the M1911 and it was on a map called Die Rise. You got the M1911, you expected to revive yourself, and zombies could still attack you. With that alone, it just ruins it for me. It made it incredibly difficult to revive. It was better just to die or use quick revive. Widows Wide. Widows. I'm gonna say S tier. When I used this perk on BO3, it's made my life so much easier. I couldn't care what anybody says. Like when zombies hit you, they essentially stop moving and getting Widows wide grenades back was incredibly easy. You just kill the zombie, more or less. It's practically like Juggernog best friend on BO3. It was fantastic. Winter's Whale. This was the much worse version, in my opinion. I mean, I think they did upgrade the perk a bit, but it didn't really. For me personally, I didn't see myself using it very much. I know what it was. It just didn't seem as effective, even when it was up buffed. It was pretty good. I'll probably put it in B tier though. And this perk, awful, absolute crap. All I'm going to say about that one, it's terrible. But I think I've ranked these pretty well. My reasoning might not have been the best, but I tried my best with this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.